Welcome back, Tiger Tamers. I am Lupine Fiasco, and this is Daily FaB Gameplay. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome to a state of zen. What we do here is review replays of games that I have played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I'll talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now compared to the line I took then at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the upcoming ProQuest season and, most importantly, walk away with that shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the list I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord and the shiny cardboard Talishar card back. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DFG video, you'll get bonus DFG content every week, and there are even more benefits to come. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. And if you just want memes and rambling, follow me on X. Now, without further ado, let's talk about our sideboard and about our game plan. We're back with another Levia game. You're trying to figure out why we lost. First, we did lose the die roll. We will be going first. This isn't the worst thing in the world against a Levia. Our best case is to just not attack. If we don't give Levia the chance to filter, we aren't giving her the chance to stack her graveyard for any of her banish effects. But as we've seen with Zen, sometimes you do draw hands where you just want to get reds out and open the door to drawing into your blue Transcend instance. Best case, you actually do get to Transcend on turn 0 and can put some combos together, get some cards into your discard. So we really would have preferred to go second here, let Levia filter on her end, do some blocking, and then draw into our Transcend on turn 2. So definitely a big change from KO. I used to think that going first or second really didn't matter in this matchup. And Zen is showing, no, you actively want to go second. Losing the die roll isn't the worst thing, but you do really want to go second here. We will be sideboarding for the mirror. Talishar coming in. These games do go fast enough that we shouldn't have to worry too much about Talishar breaking. And Levia can certainly draw into hands, especially if she wants to stack her graveyard, that just don't do all that much besides blocking. So Needle does seem like an active liability here. As far as the 60, just worth noting that the list has changed from this video. Harmony of the Hunt red is out. Spinning Wheel Kick would be in the 60. The game plan here is just to race. We do want to be aware of Levia's life total and blood debt count so that we hopefully push her past 13 and being able to flip into Blasmathet. But even if she does get the flip off, hopefully we still have our Traverse and or Stride of Reprisal and can finish the job even with Levia having a 5th card in hand because of her blood debt and that interaction with Blasmathet. Quick side note, this video was recorded prior to July 8th. If there have been any banned and suspended announcements relevant to Zen, then I apologize for the out-of-date video. Hopefully, any lessons you learn are still relevant. Pretty simple matchup. There isn't a ton to worry about on Levia's side of the board, so we will just submit deck and try to figure out where we might have lost some value and where we can find that value again in the future. Opening hand here is pretty medium. We can't Transcend, for one thing. We could just Arsenal pass. If we throw this Harmony into the Arsenal, we do not give Levia the chance to filter. Nothing wrong with that necessarily. Descendant Gustwave and Harmony of the Hunt in hand are not the worst cards to have. On our next turn, we could Harmony, hopefully flip something off the top. Bare minimum, we get to Descendant, Talishar, or Harmony, Tiger, Talishar, maybe play a 0 cost in there. I think just passing this is fine. It isn't the best hand, but it isn't the worst, and it'll do something on the next turn. That said, playing out Harmony doesn't seem like the worst line. We follow this 3 with the Tiger and then pass. We give Levia the chance to filter 1 card unless she wants to just overblock this 0 power Tiger. I don't know that she would, with us having 2 floating resources and 2 cards in hand. So I don't think this is the optimal line, but I don't mind it necessarily. Levia does have a wind-up discard, so things are already looking pretty shaky for us. We're not thrilled to see a wind-up discard. Arsenaling Descendant Gustwave instead of Ancestral Harmony seems fine to me. We hold on to a 3 block in case Levia finds disruption, be it Send Packing, Amnesia, CNC, Weak Slink, all of the Zen hate that a Levia might be able to slot into the deck. We draw into the ability to transcend, though that does require that we put an attack onto the battlefield before we can do so. We could transcend on Levia's turn. We would be giving up 2 resources to do it. She plays a Blood Rush, pitches a Blood Rush, so she was always going to be able to put cards into the discard for any sort of banish effect. Do we want to block? Certainly not from hand. Traverse is not online, so we will not be blocking with Traverse. The question is, do we want a Tiger? And the reason we might want a Tiger is that we can open our chain with the Tiger for 0 cost, then double transcend. We would not be blocking either of the claws. We want to block whatever the last thing that Levia does is, just so that we know if we have to block a Send Packing. Here we've got a Beast Within coming in for 8. This puts us to 22, but we do have full tempo. We could double transcend here and not need to worry about breaking our boots. But is that worth giving up 2 resources? The answer is probably yes. Honestly, we play out our Harmony. We hold on to 2 Chi. One of them gets pitched into Zen. The other is just resources that we can pitch. That seems better than needing to break our stride here. If we do break stride, then we open with Tiger, Grains Drop. Deal no damage. Well, open with Harmony, Tiger, Grains Drop, no damage dealt. We do get 2 floating resources out of that, but again, we probably don't need them. We would be able to play Harmony, find a Chase the Tail off of Zen. We'd have plenty of Tigers to attack with, and be able to play Descendant Gustwave from Arsenal and then Arsenal a Tiger, because we would have 2 Tigers. So I guess we would keep Descendant in Arsenal. Tracking these lines is always so difficult for me. I think we do want the 2 floating resources because that lets us work a Talishar into the chain as well. And that means that we are blocking with Stride here rather than double transcending this Beast Within, getting our 2 Chi. If we do have the 2 Chi, then we make a Tiger. We can attack with Harmony of the Hunt, get a second Tiger, Chi into Zen to find Chase the Tail, and keep our Descendant in Arsenal. Or we attack with it and just get an extra point off of Harmony. I think with all that being said, I still want to block with Stride here so that I can work a Talishar into my chain. This seems like the worst play, because I'm only going to transcend once. We flip a Sacred Art with the Harmony, which is really too bad. We are going to be able to pitch into Harmony. We will transcend one time. We will pump this up to 2. We're going to float 3 resources, which lets us Chase the Tail Talishar, hold on to our Descendant Gustwave. So we get a fine turn out of this, and we hold on to our stride. So overall, this seems fine. I don't know that we lost too much value by not double transcending. Potentially only having 1 chi in our deck could be bad, though Traverse is still online, so that I don't see how this was necessarily bad. And we hold on to our stride for when we hopefully eventually draw into Art of War. And then we get a final Talishar and hold on to our Descendant. We also now have a Chase the Tail in our discard as something to find with Bonds. It is worth noting, though, that our graveyard is really not that stacked right now. Pretty unhappy to see how unstacked it is. Levia coming in with Boneyard Marauder. Blood Debt is off. Levia has not broken hooves, so there is no follow-up to this. Levia just arsenals a card. We do have a blue in our hand, which we can use to pay for Descendant Gustwave. The issue with that being that, for one thing, we can't transcend. For another, we only have 1 target with Bonds, and that is Chase the Tail. So we would need to generate an extra resource somewhere in order to play Descendant, play Chase the Tail, and play Command and Conquer. If we used our stride to make a tiger, then we get to Descendant, Bonds, Tiger, Chase the Tail, pitch CNC into CNC. The Tiger does not get additional, Chase the Tail does not get additional value, it is just go again. But we get to work a Command and Conquer into this line as well, which doesn't seem terrible. But if we use our Traverse and get Chi, then what we are able to do is pitch Preserve into Descendant, play Bonds, pitch Chi into Zen to find Aspect of Tiger. Our Bonds is finding Chase the Tail. So we get to Tiger for 0, Chase for 4, Aspect for 3, make a Tiger, Tiger for 4, and then Command and Conquer. So overall, we are getting 7, 11, 15, 22 value and a disruptive CNC out of that, and we still get to keep our stride. I really like blocking with Traverse here. Our alternate line is to block with Bonds and CNC, then play CNC, pitching Preserve and holding onto our Descendant Gustwave. We don't take damage, we hold on to Traverse, but Levia has so much armor, including Carrion Husk, that I think that's just a really subpar line. I think getting 22 with Disruption at the end is a lot better, and we are also pretty resistant to Fleshbag. If we get our Chi and we pitch into Descendant Gustwave, we'll float 2, have a Chi in hand. If Levia blocks with the Fleshbag, then we do have the option to pitch the Chi into Bonds so that we still have a follow-up. I also don't know if Levia would use Fleshbag that early. I just think if we block with Traverse here, we get that Chi. We're doing 22 damage with Disruption, and we have a lot of options for if we see Fleshbag, and I think that's better than blocking for 6. The upside of blocking with CNC Bonds is that we put a Bonds into our discard, which is important if we draw into a hand that could potentially double Bonds. I go for the defensive line here. Again, I don't think that is correct. I would much rather have broken Traverse and gone for the Chase the Tail line. Threaten 22, get armor out of Levia. Definitely push her closer towards needing to flip with only 1 blood debt, which is pretty actively good for us. Drawing into a hand that at minimum can transcend. Levia does not break hooves, so we are looking at draw 2 and go again. Shadowpeed for 7 seems fine. We're going to see what the follow-up to this is if we need to block at all. Command and Conquer coming in for 6, and I would like to protect this Gust Wave in Arsenal. So we have a few lines here. If we block with all of our armor, we pick up Chi and a Tiger. We can Chi into the Bonds. Off of Zen, we also get to grab Chase the Tail with Bonds. We can also Chase the Tail aspect from hand. Now the danger here is that Levia still has Fleshbag. We still have to play around that. And she could potentially snipe our Tiger or our Aspect. So I think what we would want to do if we were going to block with armor, we want to give Traverse and Stride, pick up our Chi, and get an extra Tiger so that our Chase the Tail is always going to be active. The defensive line here is that we can block with Traverse, Stride, and Aspect of Tiger. Because we have a Tiger already, our Stride, our Chase the Tail will be online. We attack with 100 Winds, give it go again with Path, Transcend, generate a resource in the Chi, pitch the Chi into Zen to find Bonds, Bonds finds Chase. So blocking with Traverse, Stride, and Aspect here seems fine. We cover up the 6, make our Chi, make our Tiger, play 100 Winds, Transcend, generate a resource, use that resource to play Descendant from Arsenal. Chi finds Chase the Tail. Chi finds Bonds. Bonds finds Chase the Tail. We get to attack, and depending on what the Fleshbag hits, even get value out of Chase the Tail. So how I like blocking here is Traverse, Stride, Aspect. I don't think we need to give Shuko and Kasaya for this. Let's talk about this line. I feel like holding onto a blue 100 Winds is worse than holding onto a Shuko. We get to play 100 Winds, we get to Transcend. Our Chi will find Bonds. Our Bonds can find Aspect of Tiger. 100 Winds here translates into Talishar. And that's it. Or we get to Arsenal it. I think I would rather block with 100 Winds than a Shuko if I was going to take this line and just have 2 cards in hand. Play 100 Winds, Transcend, Descendant, Bonds. Probably grab Chase the Tail anyway, and then Tiger Chase, or Chase Arsenal Tiger. This seems worse to me. I don't love losing Shuko here. Though holding on to the 100 wins here, I understand. We get to pitch it for Chase the Tail and Talishar. Transcend, generate a resource. Play Gust Wave. We're just waiting to see if Levia is going to flashbag us. It seems unlikely. If we had blocked with our 100 wins here, we would not be... we would be bonding for 100 wins, not for Chase the Tail. But I do think this line, I see the upside now. I think this is worse than had we blocked with Traverse and gotten our Chi, but I do see the upside of this. We are fairly weak to Fleshbag, but Levia can just hold on to it. And we are putting her into a position where she is going to need to block something. She is still going to need to block even after covering the Chase the Tail, because we will be threatening 7 damage. If we put her to 14, then she can just play something like a Swing Big Pass, flip, but she will not just be able to give us armor. It is going to take a card from her hand or Husk in order for her to be able to flip. So all in all, not a bad turn. And we still have Traverse. Here, the line is pretty easy. We are going to block with Traverse. We're going to find our Chi. The downside is that we are weak to Flashbag, as we will play Harmony, pitch our Chi into Zen to find Gust Wave, play Gust Wave, and at that point, Levia is very likely to block with Fleshbag, and she'll have a 33% chance to hit the bonds. So if she loses the flip, she loses the die roll off of Fleshbag, then we probably just win the game. If she wins, then we're in a really tough spot after missing on Harmony. But I don't see that there is a better way to sequence this. If we hold on to Harmony, then in order to give us a 75% chance of keeping the bonds instead of a 66% chance, we're losing a lot of potential damage. Losing the bonds is really tragic for us. At this point, Levia goes to 14, and there is very little chance that we can actually push her over, considering too that our Tiger does not have power. So Levia can block the 100 wins with Carrion Husk. She does not need to block the Tiger, and then she'll block Talishar with 2 cards from hand, play a 2-card 6 or a 2-card 8, or just claw us Arsenal and then flip. So Levia getting the bonds, just really unfortunate for us. Statistically unlikely to happen, but Fleshbag is good, it turns out. We do have a 5-card hand. We do have a bonds in Arsenal if we happen to draw into a Gust Wave. Unfortunately, we do now need to block. We can drop in the ocean Rising Sun Setting Moon to see if we manage to find a 3-block to protect our arsenal, or even another 2-block with Kasaya. Gaining the resource here is relevant if we draw into Art of War, but ultimately shouldn't matter too much. Finding levels is unfortunately a little too late. We would prefer not to lose our bonds because we will very likely be able to do more damage if we are able to find Gust Wave. So how we're blocking here. For one thing, we are going to put the... we are keeping levels, we're keeping 100 Winds. We're going to block with those two. Well, I suppose we can block with Kasaya as well. So Kasaya and levels covers the CNC. It's only 5 power. After that, we bottom 100 Winds. We're going to pitch a Chi to find Descendant. Pitch our Stir the Pot to play Descendant. Follow that with Bonds. Bonds for 100 Winds. Play 100 Winds. Attack with Talishar. So we will bottom... because we get the Chi. God, I suck at Zen. So we'll block this with Kasaya levels. That covers it up. We do now have to deal with a flipped Levia. Her having the Graveling Growl in Banish is maybe not the end of the world, but her having Dread Screamer is very bad for us. It is going to let her convert large hands, even without Go Again. So we are going to find our Red Descendant. We will be able to bond for a red 100 Winds, and we really are just hoping that Levia drew some non-blocks. Oh, and of course we don't have Talishar because it broke. This is why I put these videos together, because I am. Zen is a real struggle for me. So we will be presenting 11 damage this turn. Pretty unlikely that we force Levia to block with more than one card. Especially if she's blocking with blues, then we are pretty likely that she is able to convert her hand in some way. And while we do get a Crouching Tiger in Arsenal, it's pretty dependent on our draw that we actually get to use it. Endless Maw breaking the hooves here. We'll take this 9. The follow-up to this is going to be Graveling Growl for 7. We have to block for, well, let's think. Because we'll be blocking the Graveling Growl for 8. Is there a way that we could have done this? If we block the Endless Maw with E-Strike, then we take 6 and go to 4. Then we get to block Graveling Growl for 5 and go to 2. We do save a point of life if we block differently, but we don't get to keep more than one card. And that does just kill us. Levia being at 2 here means that we 100 Wind for 1, put her to 1, pass the turn because Tiger doesn't attack, and then she kills us. So slightly suboptimal blocking there, but ultimately does not matter. Give Levia a good game. Pass the turn, and then she kills us. Especially when we draw into double Art of War Chi, none of this blocks. We could potentially try and find our way out of this, but it seems extremely unlikely, so we are just going to pass through this. And that is the game. So very excited for someone to tell me in the comments where I missed damage, because it felt like not drawing an Art of War cost us that game. It felt like the Flesh Bag hitting the bonds absolutely cost us that game. but I think there were definitely opportunities to set up bigger hands early, get earlier traverse value, and I did not. And of course, I'm still working on my skill of being able to see what a hand looks like without actually having the cards. It is very difficult for me to do, and Talishar does not make that any easier. So thank you for bearing with me through sort of a scattered gameplay review here. Certainly came close. I think I could have gotten there with better play, and I just didn't see the lines at the time. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope maybe you learned something. If so, head jab that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback, please. If you saw the winning line, be sure to let me know. I do read through any of the lines that you give me in the comments, and they're all very helpful. I take those with me into my future games, so please do. If you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It's free, it helps me out. I have a Twitter, I have a Patreon. Those links are in the video description below. And I will catch you all back here later for more daily FaB gameplay. And until then, take care.